All
Oh,
right.
now we gotta be good.
Finally. Oh, yeah. Yes, be good. The camera's on. He's watching all
Daddy's
of
going to
us.
mute me.
I'm not going to mute you. I'll boot you. That's what we'll
Ooh,
do.
ouch.
No. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Aunt Pruitt here. Hope y'all are doing well. It's another unbelievable hot Thursday here in the smartphone photographers community. This is the weekly hangout on air that we like to call Point and Shoot, where we just have a bunch of our community members get together and we sit around, have some booze, talk about some shots. I mean, snapshots, that is.
Body shots.
But
Yeah,
we
she's
also
got bubbles
talk
out her
about
nose.
tips.
What's going to happen?
We also talk about tips and tricks, how-tos to make you a better smartphone photographer. We also have some time to discuss a weekly challenge that we do. The challenge is based on any random theme that the previous winner comes up with. So stay tuned for that one. This is an interesting one, to say the least. And and then, of course, we'll crown a winner, and they'll pick the next challenge. Before we get started, we'll go ahead and let everybody in the panel tonight introduce themselves. And because I am a gentleman, I'm going to start with Mr. Robert Knight.
Why are you starting now?
What?
You muted? Are you paying attention?
What? I can hardly hear you.
Oh, boy. Am I muted? I can't be muted.
No, you're not. You're fine.
Where's Robert?
I'm right here.
There you are. Now you're on air. Say hello.
I'm on air. Duh.
Well,
I'm
say hello.
editing a photo, okay?
Okay, the man is focused.
All right.
Jeez.
That just takes time, okay?
Yeah.
It takes hours and hours to edit a photo. So it takes
Note to-
time. So the
Now-
hangout
now-
just must wait, okay?
Robert,
Okay.
Robert, if you use Lightroom, you could do it in minutes.
Oh, man.
Zing!
Here he goes. Here he goes.
Actually, I'm using Perfect Effects 8 now after using Lightzone. So I've got another 2 hours to go.
Oh,
I'll be back later.
man. Jeez. That's,
Anyway, I'm doing well.
welcome, and noted that I will not bother you while you're editing your photos, sir. Sorry. Serious business. Appreciate you hanging out. Next up,
Serious.
Mr. Michael Sweeney. How you doing?
Hey, we're doing well. We're in rare form tonight, so consider yourself warned.
The folks that's been watching in the past, they're probably used to it. Trust me.
Probably.
Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Sweeney.
Pleasure to be here.
Next up, Mr. Michael King. Don't hear you, sir.
I have myself muted.
There you go.
I have myself muted. I'm coughing. I'm high on codeine cough medicine right now, so this can get interesting.
Yes, this is that kind of hangout, folks. Booze and codeine. Holy cow. What have I started?
Who knows?
Appreciate you coming out, King, and I hope you get to feeling better.
Oh, yeah, well, I just got bronchopneumonia. That's all.
Jeez. Hang in there, brother. Next up, tipping up the bottle. Deborah Walmer-Basembe. I got you just at the right time. Welcome, lady.
Hello.
That's funny.
Hope you're doing well. I appreciate you coming out, too.
You know, she hasn't been here in weeks, and she's getting hammered the first time she comes back.
I was here last week.
That's probably why
And she got hammered then.
Because she's here. You never know. All right, intros are out of the way. Let's take a look at the challenge this week. I don't know the technical term off the top of my head. Is it Pyridora? Somebody knows that term, where you actually see faces and objects.
Deborah?
Say it again.
Deborah would know, so she can
Deborah,
spit
you
it
know?
out.
You don't know? Oh,
Mental. I don't know.
I'll figure it out. Pareidolia. That's the word I was looking for. Pareidolia.
See, I can
That's
only
that
think
right?
of periodontal, but it's nothing with it.
Pareidolia is when you can see
Katy Perry.
faces and things. But that's the challenge for this week is, have faces and objects. It was proposed by Timothy McCusker, who's been like a reigning champion here recently. We had 15 submissions here. Honestly, I didn't see a lot that I liked. And it was sort of hard to make them creative, but there are a few good ones in here, and I'll do a little screen share and show these things off. So let me find the right screen.
Yeah, let's.
While he's doing that,
I didn't say anything. Yeah.
You didn't say anything yet. All right, this gonna work. There we go. We are good now. All right. This one here, my man Matt Lee. I also call him the super producer because I do other podcasts with him and hang with him and so forth. This is one of those satellite dish, what do you call them, flanges or what have you. And Matt just saw it and said, "Oh, this is cute. It looks like a little face," and snapped it. He didn't do any editing or anything like that. Me personally, I would have cut this out, all of that there, and put a little more alignment on it because everything is sort of leaning.
Lazy. Ooh.
What's that?
Nothing.
Go ahead. Let's hear it, Deborah.
Lazy.
You are on camera.
Lazy.
Lazy. Well, Matt Lee, yeah, he is a little bit lazy.
Matt. I expect more from him. This is, come on, really?
Yeah.
Matt knows better.
He does. This is the problem with this challenge. I'm sorry.
No? Well, what's the problem with it? Go ahead.
Yeah, you started this, though.
It's just, I don't know, it's so contrived to me. I just don't.
I believe the word you're looking for is trite.
Yes. Exactly.
Have another cider.
Maybe not.
No, trite is it's definitely. I just don't. And then when I saw some of the shots that were coming into, I just felt like people were not. They were just taking the picture like a snapshot. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait,
wasn't
all the
a lot of thought.
creativity and using your skills, and it just it wasn't for me.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you. I didn't take any shots because I couldn't find anything that I liked that would have had a face in it. And
No, we've had this conversation beforehand about art is where you find it.
Well, no, I tried. Don't get me wrong, I did try, but nothing really tickled me. That would have been.
so what's new?
Hey, you shut. But I tried though. Let's look at a few more. We'll look at two more in here. This one is another runner-up from Mr. Timothy McCusker. Why does that come up? Let's fix that screen. Smaller monitor. There we go. All right. Now this is, was he using his iPhone or was he using his Galaxy? I guess he's using his iPhone, even though it's not mentioned here, because he switched from Android to an iPhone 5.
Yeah,
And
he did.
Yay! And he was one of the ones making.
back.
Yeah,
He's
and
switching back in 2 weeks.
he's going back.
Samsung S5.
He's going back. So.
High five to androids.
He tried.
Yeah.
Though. He gave it a valiant effort. And Sweeney and King said last week, sometimes there are certain aspects of that phone to figure out from, taking
Absolutely.
pictures when you're used to the other ways,
Absolutely.
Oh, so he's going back to that toxic waste
What
health
do they call
stool.
Toxic hell stew, isn't that what they said in the
Health.
comments?
Health stew.
I thought that was interesting on Apple's part, but that's his shot. So let's take a look at the winner, which is another repeat winner. This one I like. Mr. Findlay. Don't know what his first name is. Details.
A.
It's an A. Findlay.
A. Findlay. Doesn't show what he used here either, but I think he also uses an iPhone 4 in the past. I like what he did here as far as getting everything blacked out and really putting your point of interest on the display or face or what have you. Because, yes, that looks like some bug eyes and a mouth. You guys have thoughts?
When I saw this one, I immediately thought of Willy Wonka. The Johnny Depp Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah, the big glasses, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I gotta admit, the first one I saw, it looked like a certain one that's not here right now.
What's that?
Portis.
Oh,
missing
that,
Mr.
oh,
Portis.
the other Michael. Yeah.
The other Michael, yes.
Let's
Not this
bring
Michael,
him
the other
up,
Michael.
Please. He might be listening. Let's keep him away. Thank you.
No, let's get him in here.
What do you think about this, though, King? Anything you did try to do different with it?
I just liked the way he did it. It just, he centered it like you want, and he blacked out everything that really that does not need to be shown. So it really looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, just like Deborah,
Right. From an artistic standpoint, it's going to be limited.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's why I got it, because it does look like it looks more like a robot. Tell you the truth.
I can see that. Mr. Sweeney, your thoughts?
Meh.
Meh. Yeah.
And you know why? I actually like the concept behind it,
Mm-hmm.
but I really wish he would have played with popping the colors or maybe alternative processing to really, take it off, out of the box. Maybe solarization or something.
Like an inversion or something?
Something. Because, right now it's kind of plain.
Mm-hmm.
It's got great potential. Don't misunderstand me. He's got good composition, but it's just not grabbing me.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
All
Yeah,
right.
really.
Deborah, anything you'd like to add or take away? She shakes her head no. All right. Well, Mr. Findlay, you are the champion this week. I will be pinging you here in a little while to say, hey, I need a new challenge from you. Congratulations to you, sir.
That's right.
Thank you for your participation. Yes, the applause. All right. We've been having some interesting discussions this week.
Discussions?
Throughout the community. Of course, I've put some shots up there that I've tried to say are very open for criticism. And why you stop giggling at me?
My mama told me if I couldn't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Yes, sir. That is correct. Again, I'm trying real hard to get on guys' level. So I had a shot that I took of one of our glass doors at the office and played around with it. And the only regret that I had
You took the
was
picture.
I first touched it up on my phone, and I really couldn't see as well as I would see looking at it on the computer.
Absolutely.
I wish I had waited until I got home and done it on the computer and really could have gotten it and cleaned it up a little bit.
Let me ask you this, Ant.
Mhm.
So when you do your touch-up on your phone, does your application of choice, does it save the original and then save an edited picture, or does it do the bogus way that iPhoto does, where it actually saves over the top of the original?
Oh no, you get your original and you get your updated copy.
Nice.
File.
Nice.
So
And
I had
that's the
it
point
there.
for our listeners to pay attention to. Because not all applications are friendly about saving the original.
Now
And you
that
may
was
not-
within Snapseed.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
Snapseed's pretty good.
The stock editor does that too, at least on the Android side.
Yeah, Snapseed's pretty good about it.
But it was fun, and I liked the results of it. But again, when I looked at it later, I was like, crap, this should have been done on a bigger screen where I could look a little better. And then we started talking about editors of choice. Again, I'm going to use Snapseed. I'm going to use the stock Android editor. And if I'm not messing with those, I'm on the computer using GIMP. I used to use paint.net, but I've gotten a lot more used to I've gotten a little used to GIMP. I'm still scared of it, because all of those different controls and tools, they freak me out a little bit. But
Then he'd be lost in Lightroom.
and that's exactly my point.
Funny,
Let's talk
what a
about
straight man
Lightroom
we have
and
there.
Lightzone.
Not Lightzone, Lightroom, the real one.
Even Lightzone, because I
Oh,
can
yeah.
remember hanging out with Mr. Knight on one of the weekend editions, and he had Lightzone, him and
Yep.
Patrick Holmquist.
Yep.
And they were going through it, and he, especially Holmquist, he was going through those menus so fast. I was like,
Well,
no.
you know, Lightzone was actually my original editor before Lightroom came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
Well,
actually paid good. I paid good money. I paid good money for Lightzone when it came out.
Wow. Now, what is your take far as pros and cons between the two?
It's too limited.
Mm-hmm.
As in,
it's well now, I should probably expand that out a little bit. It's great when you have an image that's already good. In other words, it's well exposed, composition's good. It's great for cleaning up the image and really, you know, taking it to the next level. But if you've got a raw image that you have to literally build it up from scratch and make it good, then it kind of falls down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And what
Now,
I like
go ahead.
what I like about Lightroom compared to Lightzone is some of the stuff you can put in it. Like I use a lot of topaz filters in my Lightroom.
You know, you like the plugins?
Yes, and I do a lot of those with different things, and they also can help out. And I used to be an Aperture user. Now,
yeah, Aperture's pretty much imploded at this point.
I dumped Aperture. Sorry, Apple. For Lightroom, because I think Lightroom, and if someone who I know is probably listening, Lightroom is 355,000% better than any of the Apple apps, which is both iPhoto and Aperture.
wow.
Well,
That's pretty strong.
So I've got Aperture and Lightroom installed on my system. I use them both. And the way I describe it to people is if you like to take your picture, upload it, and then organize all the pictures. In other words, you put them in collections and you tag them and you put keywords on them and you get everything all nice and organized, and then you start culling the images and then you start your editing, you will love Lightroom. If you're more the person that uploads their images to their computer and immediately focus on one image and starts twirling all the dials immediately, you will love Aperture. The way the two programs work are very different as far as how you think and how you process through it, but they get to the same place at the end. Now the problem with Aperture is it's been basically ignored by Apple for, I don't know, 3 years now, and so is iPhoto. And what we're hoping for with the new onset of 10 is iPhoto is basically going to be Aperture amped up and then relabeled, because right now they've just ignored it for so long that Lightroom owns the world.
Yes, and unfortunately, in 10.10, Aperture chokes. In fact, you turn it up, it goes, I don't think I'm going to launch. Bye-bye. Good night.
Well, that's where we're hoping. That's where we're hoping they roll Aperture into Lightroom or into iPhoto.
I think they said they're going to call it Photos. It's just called, just like on the, and it's just, I think they said what they're going to do is actually redo the Photo app at some point on the phone to make both the Photo app and Photos in Yosemite the same.
So the Photo app on the iPhone is anemic at best.
Yes, you can't do much.
I recommend anyone that's using the iPhone and using it a lot to shoot with, I recommend buying iPhoto for iOS because of one reason and one reason only, and it's not for the editing. The editing with iPhoto is mediocre at best, but what it does do is manage all your pictures really well.
Yes.
And so when you've got 2,000 or 3,000 pictures from a vacation on your phone, you can go through and tag them, sort them, and put them in albums and get it all taken care of.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's why I even use Lightroom on the iPhone.
If you can't find a picture, it's as good as being deleted.
Yeah. I do like having albums on the Android side. It's very convenient when you, just like you said, come on vacation.
Well, now, see, iPhoto can also take that album, and you can go within the album, and you can start sorting out, saying, well, show me all the pictures between such and such time, and within that, show me all the pictures I've tagged as favorites, and within that, show me all the pictures that have got some keyword I've assigned.
Right.
I mean, it's really quite good, surprisingly.
Yeah. Now, what about you, Mr. Knight? I know you've been using Lightzone. Were you getting to dive into another editor?
testing the waters of Perfect Effects 8 and actually combining it with using Lightzone. Perfect Effects 8, you can also, it's basically filters. It's not a hard editor such as GIMP or maybe Photoshop that can do the heavy lifting that Mike was talking about earlier. So if you need to build a photo all the way up from, you know, an image that really is terrible.
Really needs help.
And you're trying, or if you're trying to merge images together to create a new image, or say if you want to take, much less, let's say build your own panorama or build your own HDR from multiple images. Say if you want to take images at different ISOs and you manage to take same shot at different ISOs and want to merge it all together to build maybe your own HDR type shot. It's not for that. It's for when you've taken a good picture and you want to apply different effects to it. Perhaps even, you know, flip it to black and white, apply other effects. And thus far, I actually just did a photo in like 20 minutes using Lightzone and Perfect Effects 8 together. Perfect Effects 8 using it last to do the final touch-up that I wanted to do to it, and it came out fairly well. So
enhancement software, right?
Yeah. So that's probably the key difference between the two products. I don't know if you would agree, Robert, but I would call Lightroom more of an asset management editor because it allows you to have 30, 40, 50, 60,000 images that you can sort in a database, whereas Lightzone is much more for a one-off editing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let Robert speak to Lightzone and see what you think.
With Lightzone, what I found is not something that's going to, say, categorize your photos. You have to do that categorization yourself. But if you want to go and just edit a photo, yes, it's perfect for that now. Yeah. But my difference is I edit primarily now on my computer. Basically because of what Google did with Snapseed and the directory lockdown. They messed up my workflow. And that's because of how...
Well, like an auto backup, right? Weren't you doing an auto backup or something?
Well, what happens is I take my picture, it automatically gets uploaded to Dropbox.
Right.
So the original is always on the phone. Now, I can mess with the Dropbox photo all I want. If I happen to destroy it, I just go back to my phone and pull it back.
Right.
But what Google, when they made their change, they're making the change to the SD card situation, they made a change to Snapseed, I think about 2 or 3 updates ago. They kind of slid it in and nobody really noticed. The Snapseed app can no longer look, it can look in the Dropbox directory. Say if you have Dropbox connected to your phone, you can connect to it, make your edit, but it doesn't save the edit back into the Dropbox file. It goes into the Snapseed file. So then when I get to my computer, if I wanted to do some more editing on the photo with another editor, I can't find it. I don't have access to it. I've literally got to go back to the phone, find the photo, move it to the Dropbox one because now it's edited, pull it out of Snapseed directory, put it in Dropbox, so it uploads to Dropbox. Then I got to wait for the upload. Then finally I can edit on my computer. Thanks, Google.
That's painful.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is, I don't know if you can see it, but Dropbox is not even an option on the iOS Snapseed.
Really?
Oh, wow.
No, it's not.
Nope.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah. What are your options? Just iCloud or what else?
No, iCloud's not an option either.
Evernote?
Nope. You've got Google Plus, email, Twitter, Facebook, or copy image. Now, if I copy the image, I might be able to paste it into something. But yeah, my options are pretty limited.
And I use Copy, Mediafire, Dropbox, and Box.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Box yet.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, Dropbox is the only one that is integrated enough with Android where you can tell the app that's taking your picture, send this to here, and it's going to go up to the moon or wherever it's going to go on Dropbox. No one else has built-in yet. Mediafire is supposed to be coming out with it, but
I wonder if Dropbox is going to change that on iOS with the new iOS 8 actually working like Dropbox. where
Yes.
it saves any file, not just photo files, to iCloud now.
Yeah, that's that's going to be the big thing, since now apps are allowed to talk to each other.
Yep. Yep.
And 8, which is not turned on yet,
Yeah.
but they're allowed to start talking to each other. So I imagine you're going to get more options, probably to upload.
I hope so.
I think the very first option will be that iCloud Drive. Then it'll probably be, you'll have Google Drive or Dropbox or
Yeah, that will be grudgingly, but they'll do it.
right.
No,
Or
let me explain why I don't use the Google Plus backup. Why I don't edit from that.
I can think of a couple reasons.
I can think
What are
of
yours?
Number one, if you delete a photo from the Google Plus backup, it deletes it from your phone too.
Ooh, that hurts.
ouch.
Oh, no, I haven't noticed that.
Is there no way to turn that off?
No.
That's Google.
Yeah, dude, I need
So I only use that to back up. I don't really
Right.
edit a photo.
That would piss me off to no end.
What's that, Deborah?
Sure, Robert, because I swear I got prompted, do you want to delete this from everywhere or just from Google? I swear.
No, I did a
Cider.
delete today, and the delete was, if you delete this from here, it's going to delete it from your phone too. I was like, well, I don't really want it, so okay. And sure enough, it left the phone.
Then you go to Facebook
Wow.
and find the synced photo.
Exactly.
I tell you, Google's kind of taking some of the bad habits from Apple and putting them into their stuff.
What other reason you had, Robert, besides the synchronizing is definitely on the delete?
I turned off the auto stuff that automatically
Yeah, they're
edit
auto
your
enhanced
photos.
stuff. Yeah.
I turned that off.
Auto adjustment.
Yeah, auto adjustment.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and what a lot of people don't seem to realize, if you don't go in and make adjustments, all of your photos that are automatically uploaded are condensed to 10 by 80.
Yeah, I had to turn on the
that's
press it.
BS.
Yeah.
So you take a nice 3,000 by whatever photo, if it uploads G Plus and you haven't turned that off, it then condenses it. Now,
That's
if you
it.
only use condensed photos, it doesn't take up any space. They let you upload all day long.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But if you use the full res, it starts counting against, I think, what your 15 or 25 or how many gig of space you have.
Our boys at Redmond with OneDrive do the same damn thing,
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
sneaky.
Yep.
They're sneaky about it. They won't tell you they're compressing. It's a default.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't think you can turn it off.
No, you can turn it off, but you
Oh,
have to
you can.
know it's there. Yeah, but you got to know it's there. And then they say,
I've
"Oh,
turned-
well, now we got to charge you for the space you're using."
Yeah.
I've turned off the compression on my Google Plus backup, and I've turned off the auto enhance, and I've been fine with it because a lot of times, just like you, Robert, I snap something, and I go ahead and watch it go to the cloud, and then I come right here to this seat and do whatever processing I want to do on it. It's just like my little workflow, you know. Unfortunately, they're not when they're coming through as their regular resolution. They're still coming in at 2500 by whatever, 25 by 15.
Now, the one thing I have left on is the Auto Awesome, just to kind of see what it would do with stuff every so
Yeah,
often.
I do that. It's
I
pretty
haven't
funny
really
sometimes.
shared anything from it just yet, just a couple of things, but I've been doing some videoing, seeing what it can do with that, but
Yeah.
I'm just, Google it's like most things that they do, they leap out, then they go back and tweak. So until they tweak it to where it's workable,
Of course.
it'll probably just be back up to work.
That's why Gmail had the little beta tag on it for 6 years.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
I mean, that was their
Good now.
excuse. Every time they changed something and screwed you over, it was, oh, well, it's a beta.
It's a beta.
But it's
It worked
it's
out.
straight now, though. That's my default. Now, Deborah, what editors do you use? What's your
I would
preference?
prefer to use Photoshop, but I don't have a license for stuff anymore.
Oh,
So, well, how do you manage your several thousand images then?
So I don't
Well,
manage.
let me guess, you got stickies all over the monitor.
I don't manage my photos. photos. I actually use GIMP, but most of the time for my smartphone photos, I used to love Picasa, but now that when I forget when it changed a while ago.
About
a
about
couple
2 or
years ago.
3 years ago, it went
Yeah.
It sucked when they changed it from the online Picasa, and then now it's like Snapseed.
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
use that anymore. I do use Snapseed, the mobile version of Snapseed sometimes. Most of the time, I just do very minimal editing, and I use.
Oh, that's right. She's a purist.
She's pure.
No, I don't. I wouldn't.
She's the artist. Artiste.
I still edit. No. Don't even fucking me up like that, because I still edit the crap out of my stuff. I just don't. I don't like do layers and all that stuff what you would do in Photoshop. I just do
How can you live without a layer or two?
What's that?
How can you live without a layer or two?
Yeah.
Or a luminosity mask.
Yeah, no. I just do that contrast, a little saturation, a little crop, and basically it's. So for me, the editors are really not that important unless I'm doing something like creating a Christmas card where I need to do layers and I need to bring a background in and do all kinds of, more graphic design type stuff. Then I need something like GIMP or Photoshop. But
Yeah, you guys.
I wish I could
I'm
figure
basically
out layers.
I have Photoshop, but I don't use it as much because I've been using Pixelmator.
Pixelmator.
That's an interesting choice.
Because I really like it, since it's comes out of the Mac App Store and it's updated quite frequently. I do, and I do have Photoshop because I do have I did pay for the what is it, $10 a month for their subscription, so
Sure.
I can have Lightroom and Photoshop. Only thing I'm not paying for is the CS stuff, which I don't need. I don't need the entire suite. I just need Photoshop. I need Lightroom. That's it. And I will, if I have to do some mild editing, I use Pixelmator because it's basically a combination. It's like Photoshop Elements on steroids. So it works for light stuff, but when I still want to do heavy lifting, I will use Photoshop. And when I do edit it on the phone, sometimes I'll edit on the phone, but a lot of times now I've got the Lightroom for iOS, and I edit on the iPad.
Do you have that, Sweeney?
I heard.
No, I said, do you have that on your iPad too?
Which one? Photoshop?
Lightroom.
Lightroom.
I do have Lightroom on my iPad, and I've also got the Photoshop Touch on my iPad.
I got both, and they work pretty good.
And they do. I got to say, Adobe really stepped up to the plate, both those apps for a change. Because Photoshop Express sucked.
Right, I remember you saying that before.
Did I say it sucked? I mean, I just want to be clear about this.
Since we want to keep a G rating, I wouldn't tell you what I think about Elements.
No. Elements is fine.
I mean,
Elements is fine.
Oh, the Express. Excuse me, Express.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I
Elements
think
is a little
about it.
different because it doesn't work quite the same way as Photoshop. But for a cheap editor, $50, $60, it's a hell of a bargain.
I meant Express. I used to use Elements until Maverick came out and killed it, and I never replaced it. I just went ahead and got Photoshop, and now since I got the subscription,
Actually,
I do both.
Maverick works with the newest Elements. I've got it loaded.
Well, I didn't. It killed the one I had, so I said, the hell with it. And then I started using Pixelmator, and then once so I got the subscription, and said, oh, okay, good. Yeah. Of course, right now I can't put it on. I can't beta test 1010 because it kills that.
Yeah, I got to say that $10 subscription special right now for Photoshop, CS, and Lightroom is a killer deal.
Yes.
And see, $10 is so inexpensive.
Wait, say that again.
Dude,
What?
it's 2 coffees, dude.
Yeah.
What happened?
You mean to tell me you can't afford 2 coffees for your art?
No,
$10
I
a
didn't
month.
say that.
A month?
That's
It's like
a month.
Version or what?
No,
It's a full version.
It's a full It's a full CC, Photoshop CC,
Creative
And
Cloud.
when they
and it's a
when
full
they
version of
update,
Lightroom.
and when they update either one of them, you automatically get it without having to buy any
right
more.
away.
Wait, what's the difference between Photoshop CC and Photoshop CS?
Well, no. Well, you got CS6, which is the older Photoshop, and then you got CC, which is the new Creative.
But it's the same. It's like
they call it Creative Cloud, CC.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. It's the same damn thing.
The Creative Cloud.
In fact, the only app I've been able to find a difference with between Creative Cloud and CS Creative Suite was InDesign, because if you create a document in InDesign CC, you can't read it by CS, which really pissed me off one night, as I found out the hard way.
So if you had it in the cloud, you couldn't pull it.
It's not a question of being in the cloud; it's a question of the app. The apps actually are local onto your hard drive. The apps don't live in the cloud, but they are cloud aware. They'll talk to Adobe Cloud. But,
and you can share. But just like now with Office, I have the subscription for it, and just like that,
it lives on your hard drive, and it phones home.
It lives on your hard drive, and then when just like Adobe, when a new version comes out, boom, you get it without having to pay for an upgrade. So I like that, and I love it because
I love me some Photoshop.
I've got Lightroom.
$9.99 a month, babe.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat there, Deborah.
And it's well worth it.
I put the link in the chat for you so you can see it.
That's right. And let's be realistic. That's $2 a week.
Yeah.
And anyone that tells me they can't afford $2 a week for their hobby, they're lying through their teeth.
I thought it was a lot more expensive. I did.
It is. It is if you want the full suite. The full suite's $49 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But that's everything Adobe offers.
Right. And just like I found out about it through a good friend of mine who's a big Lightroom. He said, "Hey, have you heard about their new deal? $10 or $9.99 for both Photoshop, Photoshop and Lightroom." I said, "No, I didn't hear about it because I was thinking I'm going to have to go back to Lightroom because Aperture is no longer really being updated, and I don't know how much longer it's going to work." So I said, "Oh, okay." And when I was reading, it said, "Oh yeah, when Lightroom 6 comes out, you'll get it."
That's this fall.
Yeah, see, you have to do $49.99 to get
everything.
Everything, and I don't need everything.
Yeah.
I used to get the full Adobe suite, and we didn't really use all of it. And I said, "Why am I buying the whole big pig-loaded piece of software that has all the stuff that I don't need?" And I said, because all I need is just a full Photoshop and a full.
What I really wish Adobe would do is take that $49 and break it apart a bit more, because I use InDesign for my e-publishing.
It's a match, possibly.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. Is
I don't need Premiere. I don't need
Premiere.
Some of the other stuff they offer. But up to now they haven't seen fit to do that. And
I
an
think
a la carte menu for a good price would be a great deal.
Yeah, if they would listen to people, or people would tell them, say, "Hey, we want break this up."
They did listen. That's how you got the $9 price.
Right. If they just need to listen more again. Say, "Hey, could you break some more of the CS stuff up, and you might get more."
Yeah, more mind share then.
But it's I know some people, Alice, that complains, saying, "Why when I want to pay monthly stuff? Look how much money you're doing." I said, "Well, look how much this. You buy Lightroom, you buy Photoshop. Each year, look how much you're paying for each year."
Again, it's less than a cup of coffee a week.
Right. That's what I told
them. Get it over yourself.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's take a look at Lightroom, if you don't mind, Mr. Sweeney.
Yeah. See if we can make this pig shine.
What happened was, in this discussion, Sweeney was telling me, look, you can edit a photo in X amount of minutes, regardless of how intimidating that interface looks to me.
So, can you see that?
Yep, we got you.
Good.
So I sent him that picture right there because I don't take great shots, and they always need work. So.
take great. You're fine.
So-
I don't know why you put yourself down like that.
Look at the stairs leaning like
Right.
Pisa.
So right now I'm in what we call the library, and
Uh-huh.
I've got some of my pictures organized by colors. I can have ratings assigned to them, sort them out. But what I can do is I can click on the picture and I come over here to the right, and I can scroll down and I can pull up all the metadata if it's available. Now you actually stripped all the metadata off, but let me click on one of my images.
Mm-hmm.
I embed my copyright into my images.
I can't
It tells
see
me the
anything.
time it was taken. It tells me the size, what all
Are
the
you in a
specs
dual
were.
monitor?
No, the single monitor.
Okay,
Don't
because I don't
see
see it.
You don't see it?
Mm-mm.
Let me go back here and see what you're
I
seeing.
see your icons of the
Share it.
library.
Will you share? Unshare?
Yeah, let's do an unshare and see if it comes back. Nope, it won't show me the menu. Oh, that sucks. I remember this from last time.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
Apples.
Yeah. This is Google. This is Google being difficult.
Of course.
Well,
Google
let's
being
move it.
Google.
Now, what do you see there? Okay, you don't see
that's
any
the
more
picture.
menus, but you will see the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you won't be able to see me do the adjustments, but I'll try to explain it as I go along.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took a couple minutes while we were getting ready, and I took this image from this to this.
Wow.
Exactly.
Now that literally took less than 5 minutes.
Exactly. And the
And-
first thing I said was the stairs were leaning right there.
Well,
His stairs were
So
leaning.
let's play with that. So we have something. I really wish you could see the side of this. I wonder why it doesn't show it. Yeah. So okay. So I got a box that you can't see. That's called transform, and you see the grid line on the screen there.
Yep, we see that.
Okay. So what that lets me do is I can start playing with things like my vertical.
Mm-hmm.
I can start playing with the horizontal, and I can actually kind of get things more or less where they belong. I can rotate things and get it nice and leveled out.
See, all
Let's
I've ever
go
seen is
for
a
about right
rotate.
there.
I've never seen a tilt like that.
And then I can even change the aspect, because as you start playing with this, you end up squishing things a little bit. So let's change the aspect, and then I've got a tick button that says constrain crop. So that actually only shows me what I can see. It doesn't show me what's cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And my final adjustment, if I needed to, is I can actually play with distortion of the lens and straighten it out, if you needed it.
Do that in Lightroom. Is that Lightroom available only on Apple or
No.
is it?
No,
it's
it's
a
Windows.
Adobe
It's
platform.
Windows and Mac,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's always been a real plus for them. And I can see we're not quite
Yeah.
where I want to be on the rotation. There we go.
Deborah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
When also what he's doing, it works the exact same way on Windows, same buttons as it does on the Mac.
oh
so,
yeah, the menus are identical.
Because
There's
all of that is available in Photoshop, which I miss in some of the other
well,
basic apps.
so here's the deal.
Nice.
It's available in Photoshop, but is not available in a simple menu that's on the right-hand side of the screen. All of this is literally on the right hand of the screen with slider bars.
mm-hmm.
Wow.
You do not have to go hunting for it like you do in Photoshop. So let's play with a couple other things. So typically you can play with exposure,
Yeah.
but exposure is kind of like the 10-pound sledgehammer when you really want the fly. So I've got something that's called graduated filters, and I can actually sit there, I can drag across, and then I can play with my exposure here. You see how it's only doing the left-hand side, but it's doing it in a graduation across?
How much is Lightroom?
$9.99 a month.
Oh, is that comes with Photoshop? It's part of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Photoshop.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
part of the
ma'am.
deal. I can also
ma'am.
play with my contrast on that side if I want to. I can crank up the sharpness on that side and not touch the other side if I want to. I can even say new, and now I can go ahead and I can let's drag down at an angle and play with the clouds a little bit. So I can play with my adjustment there. I can play with the contrast.
Damn.
I can play with the highlights. Remember I was telling you about highlight recovery? Look
Right.
at those highlights come back. Let's crank up the clarity. Let's get that clarity really cranked up there in the skyline. Boom. Okay, now let's crank up my clarity overall in the picture. Let's crank up the vibrancy a little bit, a little too far. Let's do a little color balance. I can take it and warm it up, or I can go ahead and make it chilly day. It's entirely up to you. This is, and these are all these are all sliders. So, I mean, it doesn't take any work at all to try to figure out. Oh, I got to put a mask on it. I need to Wacom because I have to use, a tablet to get this. No, nah. This is all sliders, and you've got a mask if you want it, but you don't have to use it. And I can even start digging into just highlighting the colors. So if I want to punch up the blues and the aquas a little bit, I can do that. If I want to lose the yellows, or I can punch them up. Let's play with the oranges a little bit. Yeah, well, it's working with the color channels. But not only can I play with the saturation, but I can go back to the luminosity, and I can start playing with the luminosity to get a slightly different effect. You might think of it as the brightness of a color.
Wow.
So, I mean, right there, we're actually looking pretty good.
Yes.
And then let's do a little vignetting. Maybe not that much, but just a touch of vignetting. So there you are. And the timer says about 4 minutes.
Yeah, not even.
And that's
5.
me yakking. That's me yakking as I'm going along.
All right, now Sweeney, my question to you: this is all sliders and everything, so it sounds somewhat intuitive. But what if someone doesn't quite know what luminosity affects or
you can always you play with it. If you don't like what you've done, you basically hover over the name of the slider, double click, and it'll zero it out.
Or you can go up to the menu bar and there it says undo.
Now
put it back
what
to
about
where
a
it
help
was.
menu? Some people actually use help menus.
Now there's a black and white conversion. There's another one. There's another one. These are all presets, and that's how quick it is to do a preset. Just wham bam,
good right there.
done. And then you can actually, once you've done your preset, you can go back in and you can start tweaking things a little bit. Depending on what you want to do.
See, I like that darker, but would rather have more contrast in the clouds.
Right. And let's say you've really, I can always just say undo, undo, undo. All right, I can keep going. It holds, I don't know, 40 undos or something ridiculous. So now I'm just about back to where's my color? Pretty soon. Because I want to show you one thing that's very useful. Okay, so there I am back to my color. I can say create virtual copy. It makes me a second virtual copy. If I wanted to, I could actually hit reset, go back to the original, but my edit is still there on the original copy. So this virtual copy is just that. I've got another one. It takes up almost 0 space.
Right.
It's not a copy of the image. It's a copy of the settings that Lightroom uses to create the image.
Okay. Jeez.
And what I like about Lightroom, it's non-destructive to the original. It always keeps a pristine original away, and the only thing you'll see is the copy that you've edited, and the original's still there.
Very nice.
Is that where you were?
That was Atlanta.
Veterans Memorial Highway?
I thought it was in Louisiana because there's a Veterans Memorial Highway there.
What's that say, I-10?
There's one in Ohio, too.
95, isn't it?
Does that say I-10? I can't tell. If it's,
Isn't it 95?
15.
No, it's 15.
15.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 15.
I don't remember I-15 in Atlanta, but that shot's from Atlanta, from the underground area.
Yeah. See, it doesn't understand what the metadata is trying to tell it for the map.
Purgatory Canyon. What the heck? That's not in Georgia.
Yeah. Now, with the metadata intact, so this was a picture I took, it can tell me exactly where I was.
Nice.
And I do mean exact. That is where I was sitting taking the picture.
I love
And
it.
this is why you want to pay attention to your metadata.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
But I tell you,
I like
Lightroom
that, Sweeney.
is so powerful that I I've as I said, I was trying for a while. Everybody said you need to stay in the Apple Eco. So I said I'll try Aperture for a while, but I finally said Aperture is okay. But once they started not updating, I said, I'm going back to Lightroom because Adobe is head and shoulders better.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
might just cut some of your
Yeah.
fanboy status off of you then, just for that comment.
Right.
You look at it from your art and what it's doing for you. You know, not just
So-
because stay in the ecosystem.
You know, in my iPhone class, I want to show this one picture here as just the end of it. So I tell people in my class that to get the absolute best out of your iPhone picture, you have to use a desktop editor. As good as the apps are, desktop rules. And so I went from this picture, and you can see it's really pushing the limits. It's really bright out. I got super heavy shadows. I mean, this is really not optimal conditions to be shooting anybody's smartphone in, but with about 10 minutes of work, that's what I got. You can now see the detail on Darth Maul's outfit. The highlights are not blown out. You can see the detail on the gal that was the MC for it.
Yeah.
This is still an iPhone picture, and it's pretty heavily cropped. I mean, if you look at the original and then you look what I cropped here.
Seems like if you cropped, you would have lost detail.
Well, I was shooting with an app called Pure, which gives me a very high quality JPEG, higher than anything Apple does. The only thing better I found is shooting with TIFF, but it's still about half the size of a TIFF. This is a 5 megabyte picture. A TIFF is about 10. The iPhone picture, because I have one, is about 1.5 meg.
Ooh.
You hear that,
Yeah.
Apple?
Yeah,
Wow.
they compress the holy hell out of their JPEGs.
You hear that,
That's
Apple?
called Pure,
Doesn't
you
give
said?
you much room to edit.
You said
So-
that app was called Pure?
Pure. It's actually Pure Photo or something like that. When you look at it on the screen, it just says Pure, but that's not the entire full name of it.
All right, and that's for iTunes.
I always have to look at it. Pure Shot is the full name
Pure Shot. Okay.
by jag.gr. So I think it's Jagger.
Nice.
I'll add it to the chat notes here.
Nice. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wind down unless you guys have some shots that you'd like to share some of you, with the community.
I just did.
Well, of course you did. Talk about our other three guests here. Anything from Mr. Bora? None?
No, not today.
Mr. King?
No.
Nope.
What do
I
you got
just
here with
got-
Robert?
Well, I just got it. Just bought it, Mike. I just downloaded and got it. I like
Oh, you
that.
just bought the app.
That didn't take long. Wait till you shoot with it.
Yeah, it's
So-
only $1.99.
So here's three things I like about the app. Separate focus and exposure, all right? Embedded copyright information, which is really cool. You can actually tell it what you want in the picture for copyright. And the fact that the JPEG, their highest quality JPEG, is very usable. You don't have to use a TIFF to get an editable picture. You can use it if you want, but you can still get a JPEG.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask Mike about. I saw your tweet, or not tweet. I saw something Google about how excited you are about the cameras, where they can do the camera in the iOS 8.
Yeah. That was almost a moment of wetting oneself.
Well,
Yes.
well, they opened it up to the developers to be able to do more.
Well, it's always been open, but now they've opened everything up.
It was a little surprising to see that.
Yeah, because I like the idea, like y'all can do.
I think they're starting to feel pressure.
Yeah, you're like that's the one thing I have to admit. You guys on that other platform are able to do is do your iOS, your f-stop, and all that. We have not been able to do that.
Now look. This is a rant. Rant on, all right? Rant on.
And
You can't change the aperture on a fixed aperture lens.
Right.
And our cameras, both sides, are fixed.
Right. But they can change
2.4, 2.2, that's all you're getting. No more, no less.
Right, but you can do your ISO and all
You
that.
can play with the ISO, you can play with the shutter speed, you can play with all that crap. But you can't change the aperture.
Right.
You got all these clowns on their blogs saying, "Oh, yeah, change the aperture now." No.
No.
You can't.
Not gonna happen.
But
Not
we're
yet.
actually now allowed to actually treat our phones like that other operating system that we can do stuff more.
But you know what's going to happen? And I was actually talking to my wife about this. The big selling point of the iPhone for a lot of people is the fact it is painless to use.
Simple.
There is
Very
no
simple.
decisions. You turn it on, you turn on the phone, and you turn on the camera app, and you take your picture. Done. As soon as you start throwing tons of options out there, it's like a DSLR that you paid way too much money for.
Yeah.
You got all this crap that you're never going to use anyways. The 5% of the market might actually use it, and I'm a little concerned if they start pushing it to people, it's going to really kind of turn people off to using their phone as a camera.
Yeah. I would imagine they're going to have a setting where you can get into it, and as I said, they don't have all that stuff right now on the iPad's version of 8 that I'm testing, because a lot of that stuff is turned off right now because this is the very first beta of it, and just like the very first beta, sorry Apple, preview, I got yelled at a developer. I got yelled at Apple because I was asking them about something, and I called it called Yosemite a beta, and they big cap letters with. This is not a beta. It's a preview. Now call it that.
It's a beta.
I know.
It's an alpha, actually.
Yes.
All right.
It's more of an alpha.
Mr. Knight, you got something on your screen. What's this?
It's a fly. Because post-processing is fly.
Yes, it is, sir. That looks good.
Heavy crop. Taken today, actually. And post-processed in Lightzone and Perfect Effects 8.
And you said Perfect Effects 8 is the tool you use basically at the end of your processing?
No, it's the same. It's basically the same as Lightzone, except it's a little bit different. But the tool setup and the usage is basically the same. Okay. I do find that it shows its filter set and some of the abilities are a little bit more robust than Lightzone. Also, with Perfect Effects 8, you can take it and it becomes an add-on for other applications, other programs, such as Photoshop and whatnot. You can actually add it to it. But it can also stand alone. So I'll be reviewing it soon enough, probably when the weekend hangout comes back after summer break.
Nice.
Cool.
But
good, sir.
But it did really good. I snuck up on the fly. It stood still.
Marty McFly?
That's tough, man. That's really, really good, though. Appreciate that. All right, so let's let everybody do their so long salutations, goodbyes, and what have you. We're going to call it a night. We're going to start with the celebrities there at the Walmer-Basembe house. I've been watching y'all the whole time.
Somebody's having way too much fun there.
On camera for a little bit.
Over. No, no, they saw it already. Okay. No, please do it. Thanks.
So where can we find you, Miss Deborah?
What?
Where can we find you if we want to look for some of your photography?
Just look for me on G+ or Google+.
All right. Thank you as always, lady. Next
duct tape works really well.
Kids are attacking!
Save me, save me.
Next up, Mr. King. Where can we find you, bro?
In bed.
In bed? I'm sorry. I'm not going to be looking for you in your bed. Let me get that.
Well, I can be found on Twitter, Facebook, name it, except for LinkedIn, and a few others. Michael King 4023, and that's generally where I use for everything.
All right. That works, brother. Appreciate you coming out and getting the feeling
No
better.
problem.
Next up, Mr. Sweeney.
Hey, you can find me at msmedia.me. Find me in iTunes. You can find me on the Twitterverse, Light and Images. And yes, I've already started to update my book again for iOS 8.
Wow. Fast. Staying with it, baby. That's what's up.
Gotta stay with it.
Appreciate you coming out and appreciate the oh no, you definitely need to lose that hair. That's some bullshit. That's better. Go
Isn't
with
that better?
that's a lot more like
Way
it.
to
Appreciate
go, Robert. Way to play.
you. Next up, Mr. Knight, and he's back.
You
The
can find me
original pirate.
find me on 500 Pix. You can find me on Google Plus.
With a bottle of rum.
Wait, what?
Long Island iced tea.
Oh,
yeah.
no, that's tea.
Yeah, close enough.
And what's that? What's the site for 500 pics?
Robert_Knight.500pix.com.
All right. Good stuff.
Look, it's in the lower third.
Yeah, there it is. Might help if I actually look there, huh?
And if you look for me anywhere else, you might find me on Twitter, but don't talk to me because I don't talk back on Twitter. That's an RSS feed only.
This is news reader. That's what's up. Thank you again, bro. Appreciate you coming out. All right. Lastly, myself. I am Ant Pruitt, and somebody's yelling at me. Who's yelling at me over there?
Everybody.
All right.
I'm sorry, it's my.
That's okay.
I
I'm
want
Ant
to
Pruitt.
tell a joke real quick. Okay.
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
there we
What's the
go.
joke? What's the joke?
Google with horns. That works.
That's the top. That is the
Tell a
toxic.
joke. Is it okay?
Go ahead. I'm listening. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so what's brown, has a head and a tail, but no arms or legs?
But no under legs.
Google.
Oh, no arms or
Arms or
legs.
legs?
Oh, okay. My
Brown.
dinner earlier.
No, it's Google. We all know it's Google.
No,
Hurry, I'll say the punchline.
it's a penny.
Oh, we're gonna put the
11.
hook.
It's just
Well,
11.
Heads and tails, get it?
No, we're gonna put the hook on you and pull you off the stage.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you,
No.
Mr. King. Even better, the crickets. All right, we're good. I'm Ant Pruitt. Appreciate you folks checking out the hangout on there. We've had people watching it live. We've got all the
This
community members.
is not live. This is all
great.
planned.
Welcome.
This is all planned by script.
Yeah, of course it is. Appreciate the new members joining in here recently. We've gotten a lot of great activity and some great shots and feedback. Thank you all, and hope you can stay around and eventually join in on these weekly hangouts or even our monthly weekend edition too. You know, that gives you another option. Thank you to Mr. Sweeney for those tips and showing off that app tonight. I think,
Lightroom, baby. Lightroom.
I think Adobe owes you a commission because they're probably about to get a transaction from me. Find me here on Google Plus under Ant Pruitt, as well as the Twitterverse. I actually do talk on there, unlike some other community moderators here.
Yeah, we know.
Under I Have No Life. Shut it, King. Under I Have No Life. And you can also check out my YouTube channel. I'm doing, I am attempting to do daily video highlights of our community. Just going through some of our archives and going through some of the things that we've discussed, and do a little video highlight of 2 to 3 minutes just to, pique your interest and, hope to get some more folks in this thing and
I will watch.
join in under learning. But what was that? Somebody still talking to me?
I'm sorry.
Hurry up, we have a Porta sighting.
All right. Yeah, well, let's get out of here before
We have a Porta sighting.
We will catch you folks next week. Thank you for watching. Check out youtube.com/Pruitt, smartphone-photographers.com. And what is it, Deborah?
Wear your glasses every week. Thank you.
I can't do
Yeah,
that.
too much glare.
It's that's exactly what it is. It's like glaring in the camera, killing me.
Oh,
I thought it was just from the dew on top of here, yeah.
Oh, dude. Okay. Yeah.
Chrome
I was
dome.
the first one about to get kicked. Jeez. Thank y'all, folks. We'll see y'all next week. Appreciate you watching.